Hey everybody, it's Missy again. Thanks for joining me for another video. Today's layout is for the Hip Kit Club, and this is my second layout using the 2016 February kits. And I'm going to be scrapbooking these 4 black and white pictures today, and they're of my youngest daughter from a few years ago, and she was harassing the cat on the patio and trying to squeeze his tail, and he was actually letting her, so it was just funny. I've taken Kim Watson's cut file for the month, and I just shrunk it down a little bit and created 2 of them. And I'm going to take some time to use some of the pattern papers to back some of the open spots with. And I'm going to leave some of them open because that's going to be where my pictures overlap. And I, don't want to use up pattern paper to back those spots if the pictures are going to be covering them up. And so I'm just going to use a lot of different colors. I want this to be bright and fun. And that's why I printed my colors or my pictures in black and white, so all these bright colors would really pop. And plus the pictures and the colors, why do I keep saying that backwards? The colors in the pictures weren't, there were, there's a lot of different colors going on, and so it would have clashed with all of the colors that I'm going to be using, and so that's why I'm black and white. And I have no idea why I'm talking backwards. Who knows what's going through my brain? Anyway, some of the branding strip I'm going to use here, and I'm not going to film this entire process just because you know how long it takes. I'm sure a lot of you do this, and so I just film a little bit and then I do the rest of it off camera. And I love this cut file. There's so many possibilities with this. I know some of the other design team members have blown it up really big to where it almost takes up the entire page, and that looks awesome. So I thought I would try something a little different and shrink them down and use a couple of them. I actually cut 4, but they wound up being a little too big after I cut them, and so I just wind up using 2, and then I use a third one as a layering piece, and you'll see what I'm talking about here in a minute. And I am going to switch my background paper. That's not the one I'm going to use. I'm going to use this one, and it's a small black dots on white paper. So I've got both of my cut files there backed how I like them, and I left the middle open because that's where my pictures are going to go. And I love all of these colors. That really bright pink is actually that washi tape from last month's kit. I just stuck some down on white paper and cut it out and treated it like pattern paper. And so I wanted that extra pop of bright, bright pink. So that's where that came from. Now I'm just going to play around with the other, the extra cut files that I cut. And I have both of them there. I didn't really like the way that looked. So I'm just going to take one away and use one as sort of a little center layer there. Now I do have a hexagon punch in my stash, and so I decided to pull it out and use it because I don't use it a whole lot. And since I've got a hexagon shape going on here, I thought, well, I'm going to take some of the Project Life cards and some more of the pattern papers and just create some extra hexagon shapes in the patterns that I have already in the cut file. I love that royal blue. That dark blue color is so pretty. And I'm so glad that it's making a comeback because I tend to use teal so much, and so I'm really loving this dark blue color. And I love that floral paper from Amy Tan. It's so pretty. Everything in this kit is pretty, or these kits is very pretty. It's just hard to pick a favorite because everything is gorgeous. And I got that hexagon punch at Michael's, gosh, probably a year ago. And I think they have a smaller one and a larger one. I think this is the middle size. So I'm going to stick down all of those hexagons, and then I'm going to go ahead and stick down these big hexagon cut files. And I am going to do some mixed media, but it's going to come later. This is another one of those backwards layouts where I do the mixed media at the end. Mainly because when I have an idea like this, I just want to go for it. And so I just decided to get all my papers down first, and then I would come in with the messy stuff later. And I'm going to do some layering with some just random tissue paper that I have on my desk. And I'm just going to use a little bit to kind of create a crooked layer behind each of these little pictures. And I like it to be uneven. I never like it to be perfectly straight. I like mixing and matching straight and crooked. You know, the background at this point is perfectly straight. The cut file is, you know, so geometric, and I've got everything lined up just perfect. And so I want my pictures kind of crooked, and I want the tissue paper kind of crooked. And so I love to mix and match really straight with really crooked. Does that make sense? That's how my brain works. 1 minute it's straight and 1 minute it's crooked. All right, so this was not the easiest thing to do, but I didn't even think about doing it until after I had gotten to this point. So I'm sticking my finger, very, very technical here, inside of the white gesso bottle, and I'm just lifting the edges of the cut files and smudging some down. And I have to do a couple of layers because I wanted to blend out a couple of the dots and create a little not border. What's the word I'm looking for? Oh my gosh. Y'all, I've been on vacation for 4 days. This is my problem. I did some stitching around the hexagons, and I did a couple more layers of the gesso to create a border. Why am I saying border? I don't know. It's not a border. A layer between the mixed media and the paper. And I'm going to use some of the stuff from the color kit this month. This is the Lemon Drop Dazzlers from Shimmers. And even though it's a texture paste, you can smudge some down on some plastic and add some water to it, and you could use it like a paint. And so that is what I'm doing here. And I'm using my water brush. And I'm just kind of going around the edges, and wherever I feel like some yellow is needed, that's where I'm going to put it. I highly recommend the water brush. I know I've said this several times, but it makes doing this kind of stuff super easy because you control the water that comes out. You don't have to continuously dip your brush into a big cup of water, and it's easy to wipe off. You just squish some water, wipe it off on some paper towels, and then you go to your next color. This is the other paint that is in the color kit this month, and this is another Shimmers product. It's called Ride the Tide, and it's a creamies. It's a watercolor paint. It's got a little bit of shimmer in it, and when it dries, it's got a satin finish. So it's very shiny and got a hint of shimmer to it. And it's a very pretty blue. So I'm just doing the same thing here. I just stuck my water brush in it, squished it a little bit, some water would come out, and swirled it around the paint. You can also actually spray or drip some water in the paint and let it sit, and then it gets a lot thicker and the color gets a lot richer. Just depends on what you're going for. Now this is the Pucker Up Pink Dazzlers. I believe this was from last month. Maybe last month or the month before. No, it was last month, I think. And it's just, as you can see, very bright pink. It's going to echo the bright pink that I've got going on in the background of the cut file. And so I'm going to just add in a little bit of that here and there. And I'm loving how this is popping. I really, really love the colors. It's very bright. Bright colors are my favorite. And so I think the bright pink, the yellow, and that bold blue together really stand out. It's very pretty. So one of my favorite techniques is tangled thread. And this is just some bright pink, just for extra pops of the bright pink. And I'm just going to add some to the upper left and the lower right. And I've been seeing a lot of scrappers lately try this technique with the thread, and it looks awesome. So keep them coming. I love seeing you guys use that technique. I did not create it by any means. I just use it a lot. And I know a lot of people have been trying it and saying that they like it. So I'm so happy to see people trying it out because it's really fun. All right, so this yellow and white arrow is from the Amy Tan sticker booklet there. And then I'm going to create my title with these really pretty bright blue circle chipboard thickers. And the title is just going to be Hey Kitty, although the cat's name is Michael. And that's a whole nother story. Yeah, I should make a layout dedicated to Michael. That way I can explain how he got his name. And honestly, we don't even know if Michael's a boy or a girl because he just sort of adopted himself to us and he stays outside. And one minute we think he's a girl and the next minute we think he's a boy. But we don't know for sure. But his/her name is Michael. Anyway, I decided to add some more of that royal blue color, and so I pulled out a gelato from my stash that matched it and just went around the edges again here and there and added some of the blue. Only takes a little bit of gelato. They go a long way. And so see, I mean, even though it looks like I did a lot of watercolor on the background, I really didn't. So it just depends on, the look you're going for. You can actually do less mixed media and make it look like you did a lot. And so, my paper did not warp at all simply because I just went around the edges with minimal water with this. And I didn't have to deal with any flattening of this layout or anything like that after it was over. Like a lot of times when I add a bunch of gesso and then a bunch of liquids on top of it, I do have to go through a flattening process where I have to lay my layout on the floor and put a bunch of heavy objects around the edges to kind of help it flatten out overnight. And that does usually flatten it out. But with this one, I didn't have to do that at all just because the water brush only lets out, just a little bit of water. And works out really, really nicely. So I'm just adding in some doodads here. That's a chipboard sticker from the Chamel chipboard pack. And I added in a couple of sentiment stickers from the Dear Lizzie sticker sheet. And then I'm going to add in a couple of these thicker hearts. And it's getting close to being finished. I really love how this turned out. When I started it this morning, I wasn't quite sure what I wanted to do, but once I got those cut files cut, it just came together, and I'm very, very pleased with it. I hope you guys liked it. It's one of my faves, my latest favorites of my own. Sometimes you just have layouts that you love, and you're so excited after you make it, and then some you're like, it's all right. This is one of my favorites. It's getting close to being finished. I do add some journaling, and then after I finished filming, I do add some paint splatters with my Heidi Swapp Color Shine and Tinsel, which is a dark gray, silverish color, and a little bit with the black. And I think that's going to wrap it up. Yep, there's the final page. You can see where I added the splatters. I hope you enjoyed watching this. It was super fun. I'm so sorry I'm talking backwards. I just turned 40 the other day, and so I was in Las Vegas celebrating, and my brain hasn't fully returned to process video status yet. So sorry I've been talking in circles. But let me know if you have any questions about anything that I did. I will see you guys again next time. Thanks for watching, and hope you have a great day.